Hey, this is Pastor Dave, and this is your Monday Mojo. Hope you had a good weekend. I think we might be actually getting towards spring and summer-like weather. You know, there's been a lot happen in the last year and a half that has turned up the tension, right? It's turned up the sense of anxiety, and it's put a strain on our relationships. There's an undercurrent of fear and anxiety that exists, and when that happens, it makes it difficult to relate to each other in healthy ways. And so we just need to be aware of that. We also need to be aware of the fact that we're at a time when we're learning some things and admitting some things about ourselves that are maybe not as easy to admit. But we also have to keep in mind that we are friends, not enemies. So we need to learn how to do what I think made Jesus popular with most people. And that is that Jesus never vilified anyone. Jesus always looked for the good in someone. You know, this past week, former NFL football quarterback got in trouble for saying that, well, I just don't think that Officer Chauvin intended to kill George Floyd. That seems to be a pretty gracious statement, right? You can't know, we can't know one way or another, but we can decide to say, I don't think he intended to do that. This past week, a high-profile NBA player posted on his Twitter feed something that was harsh. And perhaps people will jump to conclusions about his intentions and who he is, and maybe it's better that we cut some slack and we say, you know, there's just a lot of hurt and a lot of anger and a lot of pain, and let's give each other room to deal with those kinds of things, both sides. You see, when our country was at a point where we were trying to decide whether we were going to make it or not, in the providence of God, I believe, a president was elected. One of the most eloquent presidents we've ever had, Abraham Lincoln, with less than 1 year of formal education. In his first inaugural address, he said these words, and those of you who are familiar with Lincoln will know right what I'm going to talk about. In the closing paragraph, he said this: "I am loath to close. We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic cords of memory, stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave to every living heart and hearthstone all over this broad land, will yet swell the chorus of the Union when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature." You see, Jesus was always looking for the better angels of our nature, was always looking for the good in who we are. And in these heated moments that are going on in our country today, I think it's going to be important that rather than vilify someone for saying or doing something that might have been done in the heat of the moment, or it might have even been done intentionally, rather than completely vilify that person, maybe we ought to take the words of President Lincoln and look for the better angels of our nature. Maybe we ought to take the actions of Jesus and look for the better angels of our nature. I think we'll all be healthier and more whole when we do. Anyway, that's your Monday Mojo. Hope you have a great week.